That's right. Feel the calypso beat, guys.
It's a tropical breeze. There's a tropical breeze.
Isn't that nice? Nice summer music. Back on the beach. Back with Double O Deep Dive. Back from our hiatus.
Yeah.
Getting into the meat and potatoes of this run. Starting our Sean Connery sessions off. Going strong. With me, as always, my partner in crime, the 006 to my 007, the best damn Bond girl on PCP. Ginny, how are you?
Good, great. Again, it just hit August 1st, but watching this movie, this is Spy in July. This is all of Sean Connery movies are very summery to me, and that's when I tend to watch them. So this is perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah, this is nice going into. I like that Spy in July. I'm excited to be talking about Dr. No. I watched this and I like because it's been a while. We took a month off, right? I had to do some traveling and Ginny had a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on, plus her two kids. And then I got back, Ginny. I had COVID.
Yes.
I got back.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better. You know what it was? I had gotten I was a bit stuffy, had a runny nose, and I was tired, and that was really it. Like I had a cough, but I have a cough anyway.
Like allergies.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, I'm really happy that we're back. We're starting up again. We actually were texting while I was on the plane going to LA. That we have a couple more ideas before we leave the James Bond season.
Yes.
So I want to show you.
Oh gosh,
Ginny, I have started.
Oh,
I only have the Emma Peel years, but I think that's all you need.
I think that's all you need. I forget who takes over for her. This is that's like some Charlie's Angels. BS, it is, like with having women, the replacements.
Oh no, it's crazy and sexist. You know why her name is Emma Peel? Because they were looking for man appeal. M appeal. Yep. Yep.
Oh great. Oh no. Well, at least you have the best one, the best.
Yeah, right. Diana Rigg's awesome. She just passed this year, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll talk more about her when we do our event because we're going to do an Avengers episode. Don't worry, Ginny. I'll field the show. I won't make you watch 6 seasons of the show.
I could catch up. It was like that in the 60s. Batman were on like late night just TV, and then and the prisoner, which I didn't watch, and then. I don't watch
tried to get into The Prisoner during the pandemic when we were in the depths of the pandemic, which is when Finn was born, as you know, same as you were in the same situation. But Reg would sleep in the bedroom with Finn, and I couldn't come in here because I was used to staying up because I took the night shift when he first brought him home. So I would stay up and I would go into the weirdest of deep dives. Like I watched this show which I shared with you, Forever Night, about a vampire cop.
I had that. I also watched that.
It was great. And I tried to get into The Prisoner, and I got like 6 episodes in, and I'm like, this might be too weird even for me.
Yeah, there's bubbles. There's a lot of bubbles, isn't there?
Yeah. There's bubbles and like that's the main defense. They come and try to get them, and what bothered me was they switched the bad guy out every week. Okay. So like the number one in the community, right? So he was the guy pulling the strings and the whole thing, but every week it was a new actor, and that was really jarring for me.
It's like David Lynch. It's like a very that show pre-David Lynchian kind of.
Seriously, I think maybe David Lynch was inspired by it in parts. I would not be surprised. But anyway, thank you for those of you who are tuning in. I should have said this at the top, but I'm a bit rusty. It's been a while. But thank you for joining us, whether you got us live on the feed on Facebook or live on YouTube, or whether you're catching us in Memorex, which is, to explain tapes to the kids. It's, like what you record on your phones, except it's a plastic in a spool of film. I'm not, but that's it. I mean, if you, what I'm saying is, if you're watching the replay, thank you for joining us. And so, Ginny, let's get into Dr. No, because this was there was some things I did not notice that I have to admit that I only noticed because we did this rewatch and because we did it in reverse.
Yeah.
Fair. So no cold open.
No cold open, and no, I what was I just watching? Like a countdown, or I don't know if we discussed it, like the top Bond songs, and normally you can name them or you can hum them, or that there's a who sings like each Bond song for each sort of generation or each movie. And I guess Goldfinger is Shirley Bassey, which seems like it should be the first. It should be like the starter. And Dr. No had this like the Mango Tree song is their Bond song, and I was like, I know that song because Honey sings it and he sings it to her, but I was like, I didn't think of it as that. This is their like dashing Bond song.
Yeah, that's it. I felt that this movie had 3 Bond songs, and I picked Mango Tree because I felt that was the one that keeps coming back, and that's usually what a Bond song does. But like this opens with this like calypso version of Three Blind Mice.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, one could argue that's the Bond song because it opens up the movie and but then prior to that we get the theme, and that's what's over the credits.
Right. Which is kind of maybe perfect anyway for first, we should really just have that as our intro song. And
right. I think what happened with that song was they made that as, okay, this is going to be the first intro song, and then everyone will have a new intro song. But they nailed it so perfectly with it, and it was such a banger that they were like, you know what? We have to incorporate this song in every single Bond movie afterward.
It's so perfect. I actually got scared when it first started because there was a lot of nothing. It was a lot of like, I don't know, I even know how to say it, like almost silence before. Then you see the little circle going around the screen. I'm like, I know this is does this movie have the opening where it's him turning with the gun? Because it took a while and it took a really long time. And then I was like, oh yeah, and okay, this does have the Donna theme song. And then they like went into it. Then I was like, I couldn't think of the theme song to Dr. No. And I was like, they weren't playing anything. And they did the Three Blind Mice. And I was like, no, I think we're just going into the movie.
Yeah, we're just starting. That's it.
Just starting it.
You don't know Shirley Bassey going, Dr. No. But I actually love that. Like I love that we get the start and the credit scene is real simple. It's lights, and circular lights, and then like shadows, colorful shadows of ladies dancing to calypso. It's simple, it's fun. Especially looking at, I might have been bored by this if we started with this because my memory of, where this goes, but it's kind of refreshing after like getting through how ostentatious some of the credits become.
Yeah.
And especially in like those late Roger Moore era ones where it's like they're doing a lot of light and laser shows.
They start to just mesh together a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to bring 3 and I'm trying to bring 1 to mind. I'm just getting a mixture of 3.
I know.
Like, it's a lot of underwater stuff, a lot of laser light shows.
A lot of laser light shows. That's such a great point. I think because I was like, I think it made it a little bit more exciting for me. I was like, okay, here's our classic opening, and then the song. And I was like, but then I don't. Yeah, there's no song, or I'm waiting for a song to happen amongst the credits, and then it gets a little, it's just a little suspenseful. It's a little bit like, where is this going? With the 3 men, and then of course.
And that's such a cool, like, I wish I could watch that scene again, not knowing what's about to happen. Because what a cool reveal. Like, it's Three Blind Mice, you're in the Caribbean, it's calypso music.
Environment, atmosphere.
Yeah, the environment, the atmosphere. You think these people are just there to set up atmosphere and background. Oh, Three Blind Mice are playing, they're begging, they're panhandling, and then it's like, this guy gets shot. and they're off screen. It pans out, and their glasses are off, and they're looking at him. It's like, that's a chilling reveal.
And it's violent. It's like, I mean, 62. Again, I mean, action movies are pretty violent and colorful, but I was just kind of like, I think some of the assassination, I'm like, blood, like, ooh, okay,
Right.
it's like, it's very.
And then when they go after his secretary, that's like a horrific home invasion type scene.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love that this movie really sets up this tone, and I think this movie is mostly tone. It's more tone and suspense than it is action.
Yeah, it's a bit of a vibe movie, I think, anyway. And
it's like, yeah,
because I watch this movie, I like to think every year, if not by like, again, if it's on TV, or I mean, definitely not last year, I didn't watch it, but because it's summery and it tends to be on, that's also like a background movie for me. So I'm like, this scene, yep, okay, and it's like very beachy and tropical. And so I know like my beginning, my middle, and my end, and then there's some bits in between that I don't recall or I don't need to pay attention to, because it's very just, we're partying, where it's a little bit more relaxed. It's almost like a resort atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. This is like a Caribbean hangout movie with James Bond.
Yes.
Because even when you get to the end, like, Dr. No's just hanging out, like, get Mr. Bond his martini,
Decontaminate you, okay? What'd you have here? We had to get your clothes fitted for you. Sorry, here's your complimentary robes, and here's some coffee.
So yeah, you're right. That's a good way to put it. This is like the Bond chill out hangout movie.
I mean, it's my Bond hangout chill out movie, and it's nice to look at, and yeah.
Oh, I love it. So I'll give you, all right, so as we go, I'm going to drop, because I listened to the novel of this, which is not really different, except in a couple of small parts. Like there's one major part that's different, and then just small details. And the first small detail is these three blind guys, they are, as everyone who works for Dr. No, are described as being half black, half Chinese.
That's crazy. That's interesting.
And there was something like this. There's something, because Dr. No himself is half Chinese.
Yep.
And that's in the movie. It's there too in the movie. But I think it's something to do that he only hires half people who are half Chinese, and he tends to trust that. I don't know. Because
that's his. Because was it? I mean, in the movie, did they say that because he was like he couldn't be trusted, or like people because he was half? There was like he was ostracized, sort of, in his community. It's like a very quick line in this movie, and then I was like, okay, yeah, he is okay. So that's his.
So that's kind of a holdover from the book.
Okay, that's. I mean, that's. I think I imagine that this book was pretty faithful. Also, this is his fate. Where's the Fleming like estate? Jamaica?
Jamaica was his bread and butter. He loves Jamaica. Like, this is his second book to be set in Jamaica, and I think like a bunch of his short stories are set in Jamaica.
Yeah, it's like
because Diamonds Are Forever not Diamonds Are Forever. I think it's Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die is actually mostly set in Jamaica.
That's right. Okay.
In the book.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's all similar. I feel like this is like one of the more faithful. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to get to the rest of the Connery run, but is this so far the most faithful book?
Yes, I would say so far. Like, I was really surprised. Even like the ostentatiousness of Dr. No himself is in the book. Like that lab, I mean, we'll get to it, but that lab and with the magnified glass with the fish in the ocean, that's in the book.
It's just like all details.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's well, that's the thing. Fleming loved talking about like food and scenery. Like, he could have been a really famous travel writer if he went another direction.
Yeah, because Tom said it. Tom was like, "We get it." And he's like, it's just towards the end, I think he was like, "You did your research, writer." Like, I understand. And I go, I think that's like Ian Fleming, probably like this is my spy novel.
Jamaica is like was his favorite place in the world. Like, he was stationed there during the war, so he got to know it very well. He retired there after he made it big. I mean, it made it big. He was already retired on a naval pension. He was set already. And I think his estate is called Goldeneye.
Yeah,
it's the Goldeneye
that's the
estate.
Can you go there? I should go there. You should check
I
that
would
out.
look. Oh, hey, Boss Man Faraci, I'm gonna send him an email. Maybe he could send us there to do some reconnaissance.
Yeah.
No,
It's for
PCP's
work.
making that kind of money.
We know you have it. Come on.
Come on, we're journalists. Oh, Ginny, it'll be like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, except in Jamaica.
And less drugs. A little less drugs. A little less bad
All right,
trips.
fine, a little less drugs.
So much cooler. Yeah.
But I'm bringing the ether. All right.
Okay.
All right, so the beggars kill this guy Strangway, which sets off the mission. That's all in the book.
Mhm.
The Strangway character and that, and then we see James Bond for the first time. And what is he doing, Ginny? The motherfucker's playing Baccarat.
Smoking, flirting.
Flirting.
Oh, it's so comforting. It's all so comforting.
Oh. And I've learned some Baccarat phrases in watching these movies, listening to the books. And banco means something. I know it's a phrase, like it's like I'm about to cash out, or so. I think it's good.
Oh, it's good.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
I thought you were going to say I learned to play Baccarat.
No. I wish. I wish, like, a real quick side story. I learned how to play poker,
Mm-hmm.
the slot machines, craps, and roulette, because when in the 80s, Nintendo and Super Nintendo would license and sell Vegas games where you would go and live out your Las Vegas dream. And I even owned, because I like games, I've always just liked games, I owned like a Bally's, like, go to Atlantic City game where you walk around and can take out loans and lose your house and stuff. But I learned how to play all those games because I just happened to rent it on Nintendo, and I would just play anything you put in front of me. I wish so much that there was a Baccarat game, so I could coolly be like, I learned how to play Baccarat when I was 7.
I learned it when I was so young. I was forced to learn it.
But no, we got James Bond playing Baccarat. He's smoking a cigarette. And this is something I didn't realize until we got here. He gives the iconic, like, James Bond, just because he's kind of flirting with and mimicking this woman who introduced herself like that. Like, what is it? My name is Trench, Sylvia Trench. Mm-hmm. And so he's just kind of yes-anding her. He's like, Bond, James Bond.
Which is so natural. And he's just like, and he's keeping it up post game. He's just like, let's hang out.
Yeah, he's like, do you like other games? I like golf. Well, I could teach you sticks and balls. You know what I mean?
And at least for this movie, because he's the kind of Bond he is very, I think there's a mix of two different things. I think there's some later Bonds where he's a little aggro, maybe very aggro. And the movie Marnie, the Hitchcock movie Marnie, where he's totally toxic and very aggressive. And I used to watch that movie like a lot. And I was like in middle school and then high school because I just loved Sean Connery so much. But
that's why I've seen that movie as well.
but he's not like that in this movie. He's very just young. He's so young. He's 32.
He's so young.
Oh my gosh. He's younger than
so
me.
Young.
That's insane. And he's just very charming. Him and Moneypenny are very aggressively consensual macking.
Yeah, like I'm glad you brought that up, because some of those Moneypenny flirting scenes in future installments feels creepy and even sometimes rapey. Yes. Right?
Yes, Roger Moore.
Yeah,
does not like him.
Roger Moore.
Bad energy.
But like, this is like, she's like, oh, James, when are you putting your hands on me? Oh, I've never put. Oh, you should, James. Like, they're going at it to the point that when he leaves, M calls out. He's like, Moneypenny, you can dispense with the usual revelry. He's in a rush.
That's so good. And I was just like, it's very comfortable. But that actress, I mean, Sean Connery wasn't a big, he wasn't a big star. He
No,
wasn't.
this is what made him a star,
Yeah,
right?
he's just a very handsome man with his arms kissing her like on the face and just like and she's like into it. And I'm just like
Yeah.
this I don't know if this actress was like, I'm never gonna play this leading lady. I have to just enjoy Sean Connery. And it's so good. I just love that.
Yeah, no. Actually, now that you think about it, now that you bring that up, that could have been it. Like, yeah, I'm acting. Keep going. I'm acting.
Keep
Yes,
going.
Sean. I mean, James. Whatever. Keep going.
It's like we need another take. We need another take. And they're like, we have to move on.
Look, that was take 57. I told you take 3 was fine. I'm an actress. I'm a professional.
I want to make this movie perfect. Okay.
Oh, and thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Appreciate the
Yeah.
support. And actually, last time we did this, you were on. So, let me know where next time you want to come on. I'm going to shoot you an email. Let you know the Attica James Bond stuff we're doing in case you want to jump on again.
Ooh.
All right, and then so a scene I wanted to talk about just because it was a scene I've seen this movie at least a dozen times, right? Like over my life, probably more. Like you, it's one of those I put on and I do back, a scene I never remembered until this time, and only because it's in the book. And I think I emailed you about it, like, or texted you about it. But what a weird scene! It's where M is like, "You gotta give up the Beretta, James. You're taking the Walter PPK."
I would thought that was very specific. It was very specific. I also just like the way M said that because M was like, "I'm with my record. I haven't lost. I have a really good record of not losing my agents." And I was like, "That's a good leader right there. That's a Judi Dench leader. That's a Judi Dench M." I was like, I don't know why that scene stuck out to me. I was like, yeah, I just feel very. I wrote that down. I was like, I'm very proud of. It was very
It's really cool. He's great in it. He's actually way more savage in the book because in the book it's a punishment. Because this the Doctor No comes after From Russia with Love.
Okay.
And at the end of From Russia with Love, I don't know. He has a slip in judgment that has nothing to do with his gun. I mean, not the Beretta anyway. I think it's just like he screws up on the thing, and so to punish him, M is like, "I'm taking your Beretta and I'm giving you this Walter PPK." And Bond argues, and M just goes, "Well, you have a choice. Do you want to remain under my service using the Walter PPK, or do you want to be bunked down back to the military and you can use your Beretta there?"
Oh my gosh.
So interesting that it was. I actually did like it better in the movie. I liked it better as just, I know what I'm doing, dude. Just fucking roll with it.
I was very confident. But I love that. Also, let me just double check my note because I was nope. No, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then we have that scene where he leaves, and M is like, "Moneypenny, stop screwing around, Moneypenny."
Just screwing around.
Screwing around. And so, so Bond is now on the case. He flies to Jamaica, and he's picked up by, he's very obviously being tailed by Felix Leiter.
Yes, who I forgot was Felix Leiter. Or
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think I clocked that ever when I watched the movie because he's not. I don't think he ever comes back to play Felix Leiter. So I was like, who is this handsome man, 60 like basic looking man? And he was very handsome. And I was like, Felix is very charming. It's like a handsome Bond and a handsome Felix.
Right. I wish Jack Lord would have come back more. He was great in this role. But yeah, so but again, like if you don't know the lore, if you've never seen this movie, you have no idea who Felix Leiter is.
It's very suspenseful.
And so it's very suspenseful that like there's this guy obviously tailing him and obvious to us that, he's clocked him. And then Bond gets in this car, a guy who picks him up and, "Oh yeah, I was sent from, from the government house." And Bond goes, "Okay, I got to make a phone call." And he makes a phone call. He's like, "I thought I told you guys not to send me a car." "We didn't." "That's what I thought." And then then he just goes on the ride with this guy to fuck with him.
I love that confidence and just man, he really has everything. I feel so safe with Bond.
Right.
I think I wrote that a couple of times. Like, I feel so safe with this, never with Roger Moore, because Roger Moore is, I don't know. Even when he has everything under control, I don't. I yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think this is, well, again, this is my Bond. Like, and I think for me, uh, I'm everything I'm going to say about any of these movies are colored with that. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm never going to like another Bond more than I like this one. There's just some magic about Sean Connery in this role, and it being the '60s, and the look, and just the mechanics, and the storytelling, and just films function differently then.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I was watching this, and the most action we get is like some swimming,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
what 2 explosions, 2 quick
you,
kinda blasts.
yeah, two quick blasts and explosions, some gunplay, right? And maybe a fist fight,
Yeah, like
maybe,
a little a combat here,
right,
and then a combat tucked in where I'm like, "Ah, nice, clean, look at that." And you know that
right,
the actors did it.
yeah, exactly. But now think about like the Daniel Craig run, which I know I love the Daniel Craig run. That motherfucker's got 20 minutes of parkour in
Yeah,
every
I
movie.
know, and this movie's short. This movie's only like an hour and 40. I
Yeah,
thought
it
it
was
was
an
'cause our
hour,
movies have been so long, and I was like, this is much shorter. So much
right?
shorter."
It is so much shorter, and it's economical. They don't waste anything, and some of these James Bond movies, I've liked most of them at this point, but some of these James Bond movies have some fat that could be trimmed.
Mhm, mhm, agreed.
And that's why I guess I like this one, because it's the first, right? It can't be ostentatious. It has to be good. It has to be a faithful adaptation, and it has to get people interested in the character.
And
You
we
know what I
don't, because we
mean?
don't have tropes yet. We don't have
Right.
bits or like, what that the audience comes to expect later.
Right, and that's a great point. And something I noticed, and I don't remember if I said this to you on air or off air, but I noticed a lot of things that I wouldn't have noticed
Yeah.
had we not done the reverse that review that we done. And part of that is just how many tropes this movie creates that goes even into the Craig era
Mhm,
sometimes.
mhm, mhm.
Like, with these movies ending with Bond fucking on a boat starts ground zero right here. How many of these movies have ended with Bond fucking on a boat, Jenny?
Thus, everyone, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it every time.
Right? And here it
Public, with
is.
public watching, with people,
Right?
with your
Hey,
full
at least
view.
at the end of this movie, he lets that rope go, which is kind of like putting the sock on the door for Felix.
It
Swing
is.
around and come get me in an hour.
And we're all clear about it. They feel safe. They feel content. They're like, they're going to come back for us. So we can just
Mm-hmm.
chill out for a bit.
It's Felix Leiter. He'll be back.
And
He'll
Felix is
be
like,
in a lot of other episodes.
he knows. He'll know me.
um, But yeah, so let's not jump in. Well, we'll talk about the tropes it creates at the end, because I do want to continue going through it. So then we meet Quarrel,
Mhm.
who um the only time he comes in the movie, right, in the movies, because he dies in this, but uh a very important character in the series, who also dies in the series of the books here.
Okay.
But he is in Live and Let Die. Every time Bond goes to Jamaica,
He's his.
not like some guy he hires, his friend Quarrel, who he owes a debt to, like is his sort of like guide and helps him out. So I like the character of Quarrel in this. I wish that they gave him more, just because he had so much more in the
Mm,
books.
mm.
Um, but I did want to bring it up because he could be a forgotten character, but like, because I've got an affinity for him, I didn't want to forget him.
No, I always remember him because like since watching this movie since I was so little, but he's always because he's there. He's such a presence and he's such like the best. It's like
He's so
the three. It's him, Honey, and Bond, like
yes,
just trucking through and like kind of supporting each other, and
yeah,
then he just doesn't make it to the layer where he also would have got
which
pampered
yeah, right,
and
right.
served coffee.
For reasons that makes more sense in the book. I'll explain when we
Okay,
get there.
well,
Yeah, it
that
does.
makes
It
sense
does
too.
make more sense in the book.
But I
But
said,
yeah,
yeah, he always sticks with me. And Bond doesn't get like has allies. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember Sean Connery having too many allies. Maybe I haven't seen.
I think it's like recurring allies. Like,
Yeah,
no, lighter.
like
That's it.
later, and a Bond girl or his out. Like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
he gets lighter. He gets the Bond girls, and yeah, I think that's it. Um, but yeah, so we do meet Quarrel. Quarrel's very funny. There's a line that Leiter, I think, has to Quarrel. Like if you no Bond has to Quarrel, if you see a dragon, just breathe on him with all the rum you
Yeah,
drink
the
and
rum.
kill him. And then there's a great line that is the guy who plays Quarrel delivers it great, where they're like, all right, just give us. He doesn't want to go to the island where Dr. No is, and Bond is like, well, just give us the coordinates. He goes, coordinates. I got the coordinates by my eyes, my ears, my nose. I can't give you the coordinates. I'll be here at noon. Like,
Exactly.
it's so funny.
He's the coolest.
He really was. So I wanted to point out him and I never remembered this guy. I only remember him because I listened to the book. But his buddy is called Pussfella.
Pussfella? Spell that.
Puss
Uh-huh.
space Fella.
Pussfella. Okay. Okay.
Pussfella.
All one word.
It's kind of one word. And
Okay.
the person who read it in the book on the audio book was of Caribbean descent, so he turned the accent on and off.
Okay.
And so it sounds really cool. I'm not going to do a Caribbean accent. I cannot do a Caribbean accent, but it sounds cool in the Caribbean accent. So like that guy became an important character to me who survives. And when I didn't realize he was in this movie, so I actually saw it. And I heard, oh, this is Pussfella. I'm like, what? He made it to the
movie. Buddy.
Yeah, because I get why we're in Jamaica and we're following a bunch of British people. I get it. But it's nice to see some of the Jamaica being represented as well. And, so having those characters I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. You want to talk about the spider scene?
Oh my gosh. I wrote about Bond. Yeah, Bond, because what happened? I remember the scene. I was like, it's a snake. It's a snake he's fighting. I was like, no. It was a the spider.
Yeah,
it's like dark. I almost think like I think I was like, oh, a fight scene, like a full like stranger. I was like, who's coming in the room? And it just like the spider.
It's the spider. And this, by the way, we saw this in If Looks Could Kill with the scorpion.
Yeah.
Right, that they go on that. But this is pitch perfect. This shows what like. How stone cold this man could be. He wakes up. There is a huge poisonous tarantula walking on him.
So still.
He just is so still. And Connery is such a good actor. You can see the fear in his face. They've given him the sweat, and he's just watching it. And all they're doing is cutting back from his scared face to him not moving and the spider moving, right? And that was the most tense situation in the movie. And then the second it's off, he jumps up. Yeah. And I never caught this before, but he beats the spider with his shoe. And as he hits, there are orchestral beats that hit.
Dun, dun, dun. It's so good. He's like, it's like how I kill if I ever see a roach, and I have. I like I'll be like cursing and just like boom, 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 boom. I have no love for a roach, like you know what I mean.
No.
You can't. You just gotta aggressively go for it.
I don't kill all bugs. Spiders, I won't.
Spiders are good. Spiders will kill other bugs.
Exactly. I one time set up a light underneath a spider web because I had a fly problem. Took the flies away.
You need to help them.
Exactly. Yeah, but like roaches, they're vermin.
Take them out.
A
tarantula crawling on me in bed. Take it out.
Oh no, take it out. Take it out. Look, I also have a rule. You don't come into my personal space. Like I don't care if you're a ladybug. If you land on me, I'm going to try to kill you.
You made a mistake landing on me.
That's it. And I'm sorry you didn't have the foreknowledge, but that's just how it is. I don't like being touched by anything.
I don't like anyone. I'm sorry. No, but that's a good fight. What a great.
Yeah, no, I thought that was such a cool moment. And again, like as the series goes on, I think we've seen like there's less and less of these like tense moments, and like because a lot of the tension in the later Bond movies, it's like is he going to live? And it's like, of course he's going to live. Like the only time I was surprised and he actually died was in No Time to Die. And again, that title of that movie lied to me. He had plenty of time to die in that movie.
He was milking it out. He had time to say his goodbyes.
God, he called his mother and his father and his sister and his adopted, I don't know.
His daughter he knew for 2 days,
Right? He's called, Rami Malek, Wendy Malek, the whole Malek clan. But I like that, like, there's the tension here is Bond going to die to this spider? No, he's obviously not. The tension is in his face and his acting and just the cuts, So I wanted to point that out because, again, I think this is, although I don't think it's the best Bond movie because Bond movies become something else when the tropes start to get really hashed through. I think it's one of the technically better movies, like just as a film.
Yeah, totally. It doesn't get too I think maybe in hindsight it seems a little simple, just like maybe structure in terms of action, but I like that sometimes, and I think that's
great.
I don't know, he's got maybe he's not as spy heavy as I'd like it to be, but I know, I think we're just getting to know Bond. I think it's a little intro, maybe it's a solid intro for people in so many ways.
Right, and he does get to do some spy stuff, right? Like he foils Dr. No at the end by like sabotage.
Yeah, he sneaks in. He's very sneaky.
So I thought that was cool. All right, so I'll talk about one more scene, then we'll talk about Bond as a whole, and then I'm going to give it over to you for Honey Rider.
Sure.
Right. So Bond hooks up with this woman who's working for Dr. No, who is told to keep him at her apartment, and he knows exactly what's going on. And Bond's like, "Okay, let's have sex. I'll stay in your apartment." And they do. And then he goes, "All right, we're gonna get a cab and get out of here." And he has her arrested. And it's like,
I thought about that. I was like, what a nice consensual scene where he's like putting on the moves and like, clearly she's bad, but he's like, really like enjoying himself and enjoying her. And then he's like, oh, sure, I'll make you food. You can stay here. And he's like, no, we're going out. Let's go out to eat. Let's go. And then he gets in the car and he's like, take her away, boys. And she's like, oh, I'm just so mad like that we didn't have to do that.
Right. It's like, I didn't really want to do that. Well, no,
that's a pretty... It's like, but he took it so far. He could have just had the guys come early to be like, no, look, how about you make me dinner first, and then let's go out for dinner first, and then take her away.
He could have absolutely had her taken into custody without having sex with her. But I think it's clear he makes a conscious choice that he's going to get the sex first.
It's pretty hilarious. I did laugh at that because she was just very like, very, very irritated.
Yeah, damn it.
Just like because she also didn't say like, oh no. She was just like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just I'm not doing anything. And then they like, of course, like because he's Sean Connery, she gives in. But she didn't have to do that.
No, right. And I think partly she gives in just to keep her there because that's her mission.
Yeah, that's her mission. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, God, you just said, God damn it, I got to have sex with you, and I got caught. But that leads to my favorite line of the movie. Not with her. So he sets up this kind of awesome like sting where he's waiting for his assassin, who is this like hapless doctor that we do see a couple of times. Professor who works for Dr. No. We see Dr. No dress him down. And like, kill James Bond. That's your mission. And so you see that like Bond is sitting there with his gun on the table playing solitaire. Fucking flipping cards.
So cool. He looks so good.
It was so awesome. And then this doctor like slowly comes in and he sets up like the sheets on the bed to make it look like he's in bed. And the guy puts 6 bullets in him, and Bond like kicks the door in, disarms him, and starts reading him the riot act and puts his gun down. And this guy is like looking at the gun. He's like, getting his foot at the gun. I'm thinking at this point, because I forgot about this line, that, whoa, Bond is slipping, man. Why is he taking his eyes off this guy? And he pulls the gun and he just shoots and it's empty. And Bond goes, it's a Smith & Wesson. You've had your 6. And then he just murders this guy in cold blood.
It's so badass. Ugh. Oh, what shall we talk about? Because there's not a lot. Well, there's also not a lot of there's one-liners. I'm like, but I don't know if they don't
No,
come across as one-liners to me.
there's not a lot of quips. No, you don't get a lot. And that's not even a quip. That's just a
No,
like, this is a
icy.
fact, and now I've killed you.
Live with that.
Yeah, exactly. Live with that.
Oh man.
So up to this, so what do we think about Bond as a whole? Because I want to devote a good chunk of time talking about Honey Rider because she's not in the movie a lot, but I think she sets up like so many tropes in these
Mm-hmm,
movies.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But so as a whole, how do you think Bond is in like his first outing in this incarnation of him?
I think he's so cool. I go again. I mean, I don't know how old he is in the novel, and then how old he's supposed to be in this canon in this universe. But Sean Connery's 32.
It's in his
Um,
30s.
or he's okay. So he's like seemingly young. He's not like Daniel Craig, who was like just turning 40, but looked just very weathered. And I go, so he's I mean, he's also like a bit of a rebel, like with them, but that's kind of Bond's MO anyway. Cool as a cucumber, so cool.
Oh, so cool. Yeah.
So cool. And so I think that's always why, again, I just feel safe with him, unlike Roger Moore, who seems too stiff for me. Like, that's very British of him anyway. And Sean Connery just has that lilt a little bit. Um, I don't know. You could have pulled a knife on him, pull a gun on him, and he's just like, all right, let me,
Yeah.
like, eyebrow raised, like,
Right.
all right, everyone, let's just, we're
Yes,
just
or calm down here.
he's a little bemused, and I
Yeah.
love that about him. And he gets more confident. It's just a lot of fun he seems to have in this to
Yeah.
me. As
It's
later he'll be more efficient and more like frosty. But I was like, he's just he's just a little swagger. There's so much fun swagger.
you're right. He's just having fun. It's like in these early movies, he's like, I know I'm James Bond. They can't kill me. My name's on the title. It's fine. You've got a gun on me. I'll get out of it. Don't worry about it.
And there's no, I mean, again, like, you're not like Pierce Brosnan. There's no level you have to meet. You can be whatever you want. You can be
Right.
like a Scottish man and uh, smoke or drink martinis, whatever, you need to, and just, be tan, and you don't have to live up to anything. Yeah, I love that.
Right.
And there's a line also I love that he said where, they're in the lair and they're being escorted, and Honey's like, "Your hands are sweaty. That's good. Mine
Oh
are
yeah.
too." And she goes, "So you're scared." She just says like, "So it's good you're scared too." And he's like, "Of course I'm scared." And
Yeah.
I was like, but he said he just like, "No, of course I'm scared." Like, so matter of factly. And I'm like, I love that you said that. It's very
Yeah. And
comforting.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's what makes me love this movie's version of James Bond. I don't remember if this goes through the rest of the Connery performances, but this is a Bond that gets scared.
Hmm, hmm,
We see it in the Spider, right? The whole tension there is Bond is fucking terrified, and you're wondering if he can maintain his calmness, right?
hmm.
And then he openly admits, "Of course I'm scared. We're walking into this, weird guy's lair who's got us prisoner." But it's a vulnerableness that Bond loses, and I don't know when because no one after no one that we've seen I think has had that vulnerableness except parts of Daniel Craig.
Yeah, because he brought it back, and then
Yeah.
there's like a pathos to him. But like, even my favorite, like, I think Timothy Dalton's like up there for a Bond for me. He doesn't. He's particularly like angry and just like cold, and so is Pierce for that reason. And I'm like, I still don't know why you got there. Like, he's protective, but he's also very posh, very British, and Moore is his own, quirky bag. Yeah, like, I like that. There's like a warmth to Sean Connery, and this is when he has his renaissance in the 90s, 80s, like
Oh yeah.
late
With
80s.
the Temple of Doom, not Temple of Doom, Last
Uh-huh,
Crusade.
uh-huh. Entrapment, there's like a
Entra-
fun, our beloved,
Oh,
everyone's
shit.
favorite.
I saw Entrapment in the theater.
Did you? You're
I
so
did.
lucky.
Because I was like, I love Sean Connery. I've loved Sean Connery since I don't even know what my first Sean Connery movie was. I grew up in the 80s and I had cable. That should tell you everything. I've seen all his movies. And then Catherine Zeta Jones and like that was like when she was big and she was
Uh-huh.
And I really liked that movie, The Haunting, for some reason. She was in it.
You and Tom who love that movie.
It's us too.
But no, I was like, because he's not that, like, I don't know, like, it's not, you can't, I don't call it grandfatherly, because he's not. He sometimes is like kind of an asshole, and but he's so, like, I don't know, fun and just confident, but then also just like, yeah, I mean, maybe the older you get, that's a little bit more, you're more, even more vulnerable, but that, yeah, there's like a softness, like, could open up to you and you can kind of have a conversation, and yeah, there's a reason he's a movie star.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Even beyond Pierce Brosnan and even maybe Daniel Craig. Yeah,
Oh,
there is
yeah,
vulnerability. Yeah, but everyone you tap into.
I'm gonna say that Sean Connery is the only person to play James Bond who, at this point, because some of them are still alive, has done things to eclipse his roles in James Bond.
Yeah.
He was a movie star. He did James Bond, and then he dropped the franchise, and he became a bona fide movie star who did a ton of movies, some fantastic, some not fantastic, some weird, but he did it. He threw himself out there. And I think when he's remembered as James Bond, but I think he's remembered as a lot more. Roger Moore, I don't think ever did that. I think Roger Moore was James Bond till the day he died.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Dalton does a lot of shit no one sees.
Mm-hmm. He's not even quite a cult actor yet. He's just
no. I mean, he was in Doctor Who for a run, and he was fantastic. He was on a show called God, what's that show with Brendan Fraser?
Doom
Patrol. Yeah, he was fantastic. He was on 2 seasons on that. But again, when he passes, no one's going to say beloved actor from Doom Patrol.
I'll say beloved actor from Beautician and the Beast for Dave. Or Rocketeer.
He's in the Rocketeer. I've never seen
he's the
that.
villain. He's like Errol Flynn villain in the Rocketeer.
Shit, now I gotta go watch the Rocketeer.
It's kind of a slow movie, but the vibes are great. 1940s.
No, I dig that. I should watch the Rocketeer. I don't know how I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I agree with you. Everything you said, I second. I think this is a fantastic show, James Bond. I could see why this character resonated with people in the 60s. For good reasons and bad. He's vulnerable, but he's also terribly misogynistic.
Totally. I'm so curious to watch the rest of them in order. I think I've never watched his run in order. I am very, I never watch Dr. No first. It's always like Goldfinger, or if I someone like my parents want to watch a James Bond movie. And it's like, I feel like I can't remember the last time I fully sat through From Russia with Love. It must have been like middle school. So I can't I want to see the development of what he does.
Awesome. And I'm excited to talk as we go through, talk about that. And also the development of the tropes.
Yes.
That resonate, because I think we get all of the tropes that are going to exist by Live and Let Die. No, I'm sorry. I read the wrong one. By You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
I think by the time we get to You Only Live Twice, we've solidified so many of these tropes. So I'm interested in talking about that too as we go forward.
And also, I just kept thinking about it, Ed, because Ed's not here. And then also, I think I also just didn't write anything down in terms of gadgets. Did I miss something? Or no, there's no gadgets.
There's no gadgets. There's no Q.
There's
no Q branch, which makes sense. There's no Q in the books. Any of the books. He's completely any. He's unless he shows up in and at this point I'm doing them out of order. So I've listened to the last one, which was The Man with the Golden Gun. Unless he shows up in one of the books I haven't listened to yet, which I can't imagine, because he does. Right, exactly. I'm listening to Goldfinger. If he was going to show up, that was the one he would be in. He's not.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. There really weren't any gadgets or stuff like that, which I'm okay with. Again,
me too.
I like some of the bare bones spy stuff. We're going to this island. We're investigating. Where I've got to do a daring escape and sabotage my way out.
Purely by yourself, purely with your wits and your fists.
Right, exactly. And he looks fucked up at the end, which I
really like. Oh yeah, he's bloody, short, right up, super ripped.
He's beaten up. A+ on this Bond. All right, so you wanna talk Honey Rider? I'm gonna give it over to you, Ginny. Let's
Yeah,
talk the first Bond girl.
she's okay, iconic. I think everybody will agree. And um you have talk about tropes. I would like to talk about her first appearances in a bikini. Of
Mm.
course, we all love that bikini. I don't know I don't care who you are, man, woman, um, whatever you identify as. I think that's kind of a beautiful moment, and just like appreciate that. And she's just like, no one, I don't know, we don't have, bodies that look like that. There's a very 60s body.
Yeah, right.
She's
It is a very 60s body,
a little bit
especially with
wider.
the blonde hair.
Blonde
And yeah,
hair.
she's got some hips. Like,
Very hippie.
yeah,
She's super, so she's kind of like, she's curvy, but she's not like fake curvy. It's just like super Swedish, natural, tall, very tall,
yeah.
little muscular. Um, but
The
her,
knife on her side is awesome.
yeah, the belt was practical, a cool
Yep.
little belt. Like even Halle Berry has a scene like that, whereas to kind of give us a cool intro to her character, like, it's a throwback. And Daniel Craig has a scene where he comes out of the water, and it's his throwback to like Honey
Yes.
Rider. These even the later Bonds were like, we know how iconic. I used to watch all the documentaries about the Bond girls, um,
Nice.
on like A&E and like on TV, and just because people would like zero in on like there's the curse that like you star in a Bond movie, and then your career doesn't take off. That's kind of a The Spy Who Loved Me,
Mm.
Triple X. Like she didn't have anything post, but that's her biggest movie role. Nowadays, it's not. I don't think it's like that as
Yeah, because
much.
I feel like Famke Jensen did other
Yeah.
things. Like she was Jean Grey.
She was, but like, who's the other girl? Her career kind of
Oh
bomb.
yeah, Natasha. Her career did
She
bomb.
wasn't that great, and
Michelle Yao, right? That's her, that's
yeah,
the one from the second. She's having a resurgence.
she's having, but Terry Hatcher, we did a Hallmark Christmas movie, so
Uh,
where are we at? So it's like
Good point. Good point.
you kind of
That's
like,
a very good
I
point.
think modern Bond girls are a little bit different. Then you have Halle Berry, who was,
Well, the thing is, Halle Berry was hired as a star.
yeah, because she won her Oscar. She won the
Yeah,
Oscar
like
first.
at that point, she was Halle Berry. So I think it's different when you hire someone with name cachet. Like, so I think that's actually why someone like Denise Richards, who actually could be a check in your column, but I don't think she counts because she had cachet. She was Denise
Yes,
Richards at the
yes,
time.
yeah, she was. That's definitely why they cast her.
I mean, there's no other reason you would have cast her in
There's no other
that.
reason. Well, she had the teen crowd. She had all the Wild Things crowd they were trying to pull
Right.
in.
Which and look, I love that movie. I love that movie so much. And actually, real quick story, right? And this is not related. This is related kind of tangentially to Austin Powers and Wild Things. So the connection of those two movies are the wonderful actor Robert Wagner, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you know this, Ginny, but my high school is the one I went to here in New York City in Queens, is a small school called the Robert F. Wagner Jr. Institute for the Arts and Technology. Thus named for I believe, an old mayor of the city. I should remember this. I gave the goddamn speech when I was in high school when they named it, but he was a mayor, right? And so for whatever reason over the summer, a Robert Wagner, the actor fan page has been spamming Robert Wagner posts in the Facebook page of my old high school.
That's insane. And
Right?
why? I know who Robert Wagner is. I'm kind of surprised there's an active fan group.
And it's pretending to be him, but obviously it is not 96-year-old Robert Wagner doing this. And actually, at first, I was like, I emailed them like, hey, just to let you know, this school is not named for Robert Wagner, the admittedly awesome actor. It is named for such and such. You look like you're a spam site if you doing this. They responded, "Where are you? Can we talk now?" And I kept hitting them as a spam
Oh
site.
my gosh. What's the point? What's the goal?
I don't know. Do they think the people who went to my high school would somehow be, I don't know, evangelized to the Church of
Oh
Robert
my god.
Wagner?
Yeah, exactly.
I
They're
got
all
annoyed. At
fans.
some point, I kept posting pictures of Natalie Wood. I'm like,
We don't want you. Conspiracies, get out of here.
Um,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, sorry, that was a tangent. But we were talking about wild things. We were talking about Robert Wagner, and I just wanted to tell that story.
So weird. I thought you were gonna say the high school was named after Robert Wagner, and then I was like, okay, come on now. Everybody
I
gets
mean,
a
look, that would be fantastic. If my high school was named after Robert Wagner of Heart to Heart fame, do you not think I would open with that when I first met people? Hi, Jason Bishetik. I went to Robert Wagner High School, named after the actor famous for Heart to Heart.
the dashing actor.
He was
But
dashing. But I'm sorry, Honey Rider.
no, so I was just saying there's like a Bond girl like Hurst, but she is kind of, I mean, for the 60s, I think early 60s too. That's my perspective coming in on watching this movie sort of through that lens. And what's we talked about before, what's like the uh what was, groundbreaking kind of at the time. And I mean, the 60s were groundbreaking in themselves, but her visually that must be a little shocking. That bikini is quite wholesome now, but
Right?
not at the time. And actually, I don't know. I feel it's still pretty
No,
titillating.
I think it is. Those are short shorts.
Yeah, and it's just low, very low cut. It's not like it's not those sick, weird 60 bikinis that are like high waisted. It's like you can see her little like hip bones. Um, and it's just like very, yeah, she's gorgeous and she's singing and she's got these shells. And when you come forward to her, she'll pull a knife on you.
Oh yeah, I love that. Bond is like, I won't take your shells, and he comes and she's like, "Well, I got you, I got you." And he's
She's
like,
like, I know you want these shells. That's my favorite line. I think it's the cutest thing too that she's like,
Yeah,
I know you want these shells. Me and my sister always say that to each other when we're at the beach. We go, what do we say? You want my? I assure you, you won't take these shells. And we're like at the beach, like playing with shells. We used to say that to each other all the time.
that's fantastic. I love that.
But because it's so like that's I don't know for such a beautiful woman. And again, you can be glamorous, you can be formal, like elegant, like to the two ladies we've met so far in this movie. And she's just like a wild thing. Like
Yeah.
she's not even she looks great, but her hair's like not coiffed. It's like soaked wet. She's tan, athletic looking, and yeah, aggressive and very aggressive.
Yeah. Oh, super aggressive. And some great character moments, like when she talks about the guy who raped her.
Yes, and I always think about that moment when I was young because it's just the like the just the what how she's comes just like I mean like she opens up so quickly and it's just a little not shocking. I mean, it's shocking for a Bond movie. It's the first Bond movie, and she's just
And they were
she's like,
addressing rape.
yes, and yeah, and she just goes, like I couldn't fight him off. I scratched him, so next night I put a Black Widow spider on him. The females are the worst. It takes a week for you to die, and I was like, that's just. And he's listening, and he's just like, all right, cool, cool, cool,
Right.
cool, cool, cool. And then
I
when
am-
she, I just, I mean, so he's like a little bit like, all right, I'm going to keep my distance. This woman is she means business, and then she immediately goes, do you have like a lady?
Yeah.
Right after
Yeah.
she tells him about that she murdered a man, and I think that's pretty sweet.
I also do love the moment of, did I do wrong?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And he's like, well, no, under the circumstances, just
He's
don't
like,
make
just
it a habit of
don't
it.
even have it. Don't.
It's like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. You got raped. This is the 1960s. You go to the police, they're gonna rape you. It's the 1960s.
And we say, I think Bond gets rapier as the movies go on. But at least this first movie, in my mind, he is anti. I think he is I see no signs of. He grabs a woman when he needs to save another woman.
Yes.
Like as a like, tell me where this person is. Let me grab you by the arm, and I think he would do it to a man too. But I go with Honey Rider when she also is. There's not a friggin' indication that she's going to get assaulted, and he immediately grabs like a bottle of champs and like is
Yes.
like gonna attack the guys. It's like it's such a split thing, and I'm like, I think this Bond isn't,
Yeah,
not
this
for the
is
assaults.
this is not our rapey Bond. And I if I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure I do because I've seen this. This is the Bond movie I've seen more often than the others. But he out and out rapes someone in Goldfinger. Like Pussy Galore says no, 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 and he says yes, 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 and then it is yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like so, like very like he gets very rapey. But you're right, it's not here at all.
When I was like, I think I was like looking for signs of that, where it's just like again, there's something so just charming and and what he's, it's all force just for the sake of combat and to be defensive. And I just really like that. And again, it's always like he's a little, I mean, yeah, Honey, she's obviously gorgeous, and they both seem to like each other. There's also very much like she takes to him, and they have great chemistry. And I also, I wrote that too. I think I don't know how many times we've talked about chemistry between Bond girls and Bond, but this in my mind, as much as we all love Pussy Galore, I think Honey Rider and this Bond are like my pairing
Agreed.
of like, if you gave me a Sean Connery Bond girl, maybe I have to like reassess. But I'm like, nope, these two are like iconic, and they're friends. They're friends to like Sean Connery's death, which is pretty
Oh,
crazy.
were
This
they
actor.
really?
Yeah, she was like, we had a house in like, he had a house like near where I lived. We would see each other at night. I'm like, yeah, because you both were super cool
Right.
actors from the 60s.
Remember that time we
Europeans.
did that movie? What's it called again? Doctor No. The one that started a whole franchise. Remember that?
With thick accents. I love that. No, I think I was like, that's really cool. I was like, I think there's like a really comfortable like and yeah, I don't know.
No, I agree. I love their chemistry together. I love Ursula Andress in this role. And then you remember we've seen her in a James Bond role before. We watched that
Bond movie. She's great. I like her in Casino Royale though. I think she's
she is great. There are some positive things about that movie. It's just a mess and it's unwatchable. But like she is one huge bright point of that movie.
Yeah. She's like so like, I mean, it's a few years after this, but she's like, because she's dubbed over in this movie. This isn't her speaking voice, but she sounds great.
I didn't know that.
No, because she had a really thick accent, and I always like that. Always killed me. But it's her natural voice in Casino Royale, and she sounds like not bad. Fine. She sounds normal. But she's so. I love Honey Rider. I don't know. I think she really paves the way in terms of. I mean, then she's gone. She comes in halfway through the movie, and then she's gone.
Yeah,
so that ends.
That was my ding of this movie with both the villain and the Bond girl, is that you get so little of them. And I think we could have used more Honey Rider. That there was so much, but I think it's them being slavish to the book. Like she comes in the book the same way, the same time as she does the movie. Like Bond is doing his reconnaissance of Dr. No's island, and she's hunting shells.
And she just comes up out of the water, and they see each other, and
yeah,
her boat's been sabotaged, and they're kind of stuck together. That's also very natural too, because you're like, why would you stay with this person?
No, right. His whole plan is to have Quarrel take her, and then like that whole thing with the gun, the gunboat, where they're like, and it was nice to see another Jamaican actor, another actor of color, have lines in this movie. But because he's like, hey, we know you're there. We're gonna fire. You there? We'll be back. That's pretty much how it happens in the book. But I'm gonna blow your mind here, Ginny, about Honey Rider, how she is in the book. All right. So first off, the reason she is looking for shells is because she was the child of British diplomats who got a house because of something in Jamaica because they did some sort of service. And then they lost all their money and were poor and then died. And she was raised by the Jamaican house servant. So she is a white British woman with a Jamaican accent.
Oh, that checks out.
She's called Honey Rider because that was actually a nickname. That's what the servant used to call her. And the man who raped her actually cut her face and gave her a scar. And so she, the whole movie, is talking about how she wants to get it fixed. She feels ugly. And Bond is actually like, I can help you get it fixed, but you really don't need to.
Oh, no. Could you imagine if that was in this movie and you have Sean Connery going, I like it?
Yeah, it's like, I think the scar is quite fetching. You know?
Yeah, he wouldn't care.
No, he actually wouldn't. He's not looking at her face, guys. But no, but I actually do think there's actually some sweet moments between them. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. she tells him that her goal is to save up enough shells, and there's a whole thing about where she sells these shells.
Yeah, she says, "I'm in Miami." She's like, "I'm gonna get money for this one in, like, Miami."
They go more in detail about like how she figured out the value of certain shells and the best place to go and all that stuff. Like again, the man
Research.
likes to describe things. Yeah, research exactly. He's a military researcher.
Oh my gosh.
But she says to James Bond that her goal is to go to a big city where she could become a prostitute and make a lot of money. And Bond goes, "Do you know what a prostitute does?" And she says, "Yes, they lie with men for money and they make a lot of it. And I want to make a lot of it."
Girl, no.
Isn't that fucking wild?
That ruined, well, I'm happy we didn't keep that in the.
No, I don't even know why that's in the book.
Jeez, that's dark. He says no. He says you don't want to do.
He says you don't want to do that. Like, yeah, no, he's appalled. He actually really likes her. The thing about Bond in these books
He always likes the
is
girl.
he's not like thinking with his dick all the time like Bond in the movies. Like Bond kind of falls for most of these women, and like there are some instances like at the end of Moonraker where she's like, "Sorry, dude, I'm engaged. That whatever you had, that was in your head."
I like that. That's very Pierce Brosnan. That gives me Pierce Brosnan vibes in
For
terms
sure.
of the relationships. That's crazy. I didn't think you didn't say that about the Moonraker story. That's really.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, that gives me Sleepaway Camp 3 vibes. The couple at the end, they don't hook up because the girl's like, "I have a boyfriend, sorry," and he's like, "Oh, okay." But that's so sweet. Oh, well, not sweet in that she wanted to do that.
No.
That's insane. It gives her a little less agency that we knock off that she wants plastic surgery, that she wants to become a prostitute.
I agree. I'm glad they got rid, and I'm glad they got rid of her having the Jamaican accent.
Yeah, but what a fascinating thing.
And by the way, that's what prompted me to look up who the person reading the audiobook was, because he read Honey Rider in the Jamaican accent, and I was like, I got to make sure that this is a person of Caribbean descent before I have an opinion, because if this is just a white guy doing a Caribbean accent for Honey Rider, who's a white woman with a Caribbean accent, which I don't know how I feel about, like,
and somebody has to read it, yeah.
But it was, yeah. But as I said, he was. But yeah. So that's the Honey Rider differences.
I think she's great still. I think we have a ways to go. But for 62, that must be pretty shocking. That must be pretty exciting to have that, and just like, and I think again we have. It gets everyone special in their own way throughout the 60s and the 70s. I just think she's just so, in my mind, I think she's just, fiery and cool. What I really wanted when she got taken away from the guards, I was like, always, and it doesn't happen, I'm always like, I half expect Bond to find her and she's like, has glass shards in her hands and there's dead bodies of like the men who took her. Like, she's like, I just took care of it myself. Like, I wish, but no, she's chained to a floor and the water is coming
in. The water's rising,
her trap.
Which I think if this movie were made in even the Pierce Brosnan era, we might have gotten that.
Yeah.
Her doing that. But again, also not in the book. I don't actually remember. I think he does just chain her up and leave her like in some contraption like that. Because this is the twist for why he's feeding them and taking care of them and clothing them. Right? In the book, like in the movie, Dr. No's like, "Oh, Mr. Bond, I thought you would be cool. I thought we could be friends. I thought maybe we could have dinner and drinks and you could work for Spectre and we could carpool together. I'd love to roll in the carpool lane, Mr. Bond." But in the book, he gets them all, he sits them down, he gives them their favorite food and whatever they want to drink, and he goes, "All right, do you all feel strong now? That's good. I have an experiment now." And he pretty much just throws Bond into the ocean with some wildlife to watch him be torn apart. And that's the thing. The reason he feeds them and comforts them is he wants them to be at optimal, like physical peak strength to be able to run whatever torture trials he has.
That's a little cool, though. We didn't get
that. It's super cool. They should have kept that.
I don't know if we ever get there. Well, No, Roger Moore has like combat with water, marine life, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not.
No, he has to because Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die
Yeah,
is all about
yeah.
being underwater.
Um, that's crazy. I also, speaking of Spectre, is this? I was kind of shocked that they said it because I feel like we don't get that later until later. I don't. I mean, I just didn't remember him being a part of Spectre.
So, Spectre timeline outside of the movies and the books is weird because Spectre is nowhere in these books until Thunderball.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the whole reason why Spectre could not be used because it was out of license for the Broccoli estate. Because Thunderball is the only book, and I'm actually not going to be listening to this one, that the screenplay was written first, and then Ian Fleming wrote the book based on the screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Copyright wise, though Ian Fleming, under like copyright for novels and written fiction, owns all these characters that he created, he would not own anything created in Thunderball because he was writing the novelization.
Okay.
Spectre is created in Thunderball, the movie.
That's crazy.
And since Thunderball is like the fourth, I think, the fourth movie, we get Spectre throughout mentioned because
To lead up.
to lead up to it. But like Thunderball was already kind of like Thunderball was the one that sets up Spectre.
Interesting. But so it's not in, so this is Dr. No that we don't mention.
He does. He says like Spectre, he mentions what it is, but Thunderball is the one that defines what it is.
Okay.
And
okay.
I think in particular gives us Blofeld. I think Blofeld is mentioned in, and I think so. And maybe they could have used Spectre, but they couldn't have used Blofeld, which is why they didn't. But yeah, so it's weird. And that's why we lose Spectre and Blofeld and have that weird, like, I'm going to drop you down a chimney in the most forgettable Bond movie ever.
He lost the rights to you.
Right, exactly.
I just like they were spelling it out, and I was like, Spectre. It was what's the stands for? Something terror.
I don't know.
Is that what it stands for? I always forget.
Because in Casino Royale and in the books and even in the movie Casino Royale, it's Smersh.
Yes.
Which is Russian for death to spies.
Yeah.
So like Spectre, I think, was them trying to make it a bit grander. Like, oh, we won't make it Smersh, we'll make it Spectre. You know,
which sounds cooler.
Which sounds cooler, right? And again, so let's talk about Dr. No himself. Like, this is our first villain trope, right? This is our arch villain. This guy sets the tone for villains throughout the rest of this franchise. And what we get is someone who is kind of weird, you know, like an eccentric and has an ostentatious. And I think that's why like that we get that up to Blofeld. And then I think Blofeld is like what Dr. No kind of they wanted him to be, and they intended him to be like the overarching thing, you know, but even in some of the more serious ones, like even some of the Daniel Craig ones, like, you know, the ostentatiousness of Dr. No is felt.
Yeah. I think it's also, I mean, talk about tropes. We don't see him.
He's in it for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
But he's also like, and when we do see him, because I'm like I was, you know, watching this fully, you know, in order, like really focused. And I was like, he's not, where is he? Like, like I was like, wait, he's just in shadows, or he's just, his voice is great. He's a pretty cool. I like his voice.
He does have a great voice.
Just like, you know, very atmospheric, just like over a loudspeaker. And then, you know, and then you finally get a glimpse of him.
And even we get that scene between him and that useless doctor where you only hear him.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That
was pretty one of my I think I like that. That's like a top scene. I was like, that's just a really I don't think I ever appreciated that scene before.
Right, because you're like, because I think like when you're younger, you're like, no, get to Dr. No, but it's like, no, this is so much scarier. Just this voice going, that was your cock up.
Yeah,
you will fix this. You will kill James Bond. You know, it's like, okay, all right, I got this.
He means business. Okay. No, he's yeah, so weird. I will say, you know, because we just watched the Austin Power movies recently. I was
Yes.
cackling when Dr. No is in his like radiation suit with
Yeah.
the not the glass helmet. It's like kind of like plasticky in his
Plastic,
suit.
yeah.
And he's like, he's not sitting in like a rolling chair, rolling around getting hit. But I was like, that's all I could think about with the Austin Powers movie, where they're like ignition, like the rocket, and he's like in this weird
It's
suit. But
yeah.
it's exactly what Dr. No is wearing. It's very funny.
100%. Yeah, they definitely drew like visuals from this ending scene.
um,
And so his plan here is questionable radioactive stuff. Like,
mhm.
just like he's not really clear what he's doing here, or did I miss it? Like,
No, because that was when they came through, when they got when Honey Rider and James Bond get kidnapped, and they come through. There's like a kind of long. It's not long, but it doesn't have to be that long of a shower scene where they're getting cleaned off, and they're like, what are the radiation levels?" I'm like, "They're good, they're
right,
clear." And I'm like, "But they had to get through or the boat, the dragon per se, like." um had left them with it. And then what does he die in? Is that acid?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay, just boiling acid.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of like there was a lot of stuff going on at the end of that movie.
Yeah, it was taking forever. The radiation sequence, like
Well,
when they were counting down, and Bond, is in, he's proper spying undercover, and as like a technician, but it was taking forever, and I was like, again,
that's
detail, I guess. I was just like, when does the action happen? Like, when's starting to stuff's blowing up? Like, when are we gonna start
right.
kicking ass?
And you don't get that in this, and I kind of like that. I do love though after he fails, because I think so. I think the real like the underlying mission that he has is he's sabotaging American rockets as they go
Yes,
up
yes, the Americans. Yeah.
for like questionable reasons. We never really find out in the movie. But I love after Bond sabotages that and like the self destruct button gets hit. It's like the end of Spaceballs, and everyone's trying to get off Spaceball One. Because like Bond is running, and these people are running past him. They know who he is. I'm watching it, going, do they recognize him? And then he stops, punches the guy in the face, and goes, "Where's the woman I was brought in with?" And it's like, oh no, they know who he is. They just it's like fucking Spaceballs. Like,
It's falling apart.
The circus, the three-ring circus, the grizzly bear is getting out of there.
Everyone's out. It's like, you don't, because there's a point where what to what end do you support your corporate office?
Right, exactly. Do you go down with the target ship? That's the question.
No beers with the boss will ever make me like go down with my corporate
No,
evil villain ship.
no, not at all, not at all. But sorry. So here's the plan in the book. This is my last
It's
little
not the
nugget from the book.
same.
It's questionable stuff with American rockets because he is working. He's on the take from the Chinese and the Russian
Yeah.
government, right? But the whole reason he's on that island, the whole reason he's protected there, the whole way he makes his money, it's not from some like shady stealing from the Chinese Yakuza, whatever it was that he says. That's Japanese, I know, but Chinese, the Chinese gangsters.
Yeah, gangsters.
It's because that particular island has a large population of endangered bats that's protected, and he harvests the bat guano.
Guano.
Yeah. So his whole plan, his whole money-making scheme in the book, outside of his dealings with the communists, is harvesting bat guano.
Ah, so that's pretty lucrative, huh?
I mean, very. I don't know why he needs the criminal face.
Well, who else is like that? There's plenty of Bonds where we're your first mission could be great. What's that? Oh God, what was that like? We were just watching where you didn't have to do the evil mission.
Well, that was Austin Powers. That was like number 2. Like, I spent 20 years building this up to a $20 billion corporation.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
Again, Robert Wagner, not named after my high school, but a fantastic actor nonetheless.
The founder of Robert H.
That's right. My name is Jason Vashek, and I went to a high school that was named after famed actor from Heart to Heart, Robert Wagner.
Oh, Robert Wagner from Heart to Heart.
Have you seen Austin Powers 1, 2, and 3? How about Wild Things?
Mr. Natalie Wood.
Mr. Natalie Wood. He was friends with Chris Walken back in the day.
Oh my God.
This is now a double deep dive to Robert Wagner years.
Oh, we'll be right back.
Actually, Ginny, it's funny that I've been watching on YouTube old David Letterman episodes.
God.
And so when you said that we'll be right back, I was like, oh, it's like, yeah, all right. So we need Paul to play me out.
What years? What do you just find him?
Oh, I went on. It's on YouTube. I started his first late night one back in the 82, I think it was.
Jeez.
Bill Murray's on his very first episode. It's weird. It's very weird. Bill Murray's coming on being an anti-guest.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, all right. So that's. Did we miss anything about? Oh, Dr. No, the character. He's of Asian descent.
I think because that name and everything leading up to it is like Asian. Like the women are supposed to be Asian.
Yeah, the women are supposed to be. They're not. They're
not Asian
like
actresses
from Nebraska with tans,
just with dark hair.
Right, exactly. But we also get like the dress, the style of dress.
Mm-hmm. What they both get dressed in, which I love her outfit. It's like the pink pants and pink silk sort of in him as well, which I didn't realize at first.
Yeah, his top looks like, and I have to ask Regina to watch a snippet of this. It looks like what's called a barong, which is a Filipino ceremonial sort of like tunic type thing, which I wore for my Philippine wedding. So I'm kind of curious if it is or it just looks like it. I got to ask him to take a look at it.
Because he was like, "Is this?" He even asks the woman. He's like, "Do I look okay?" Like what you guys gave me, and they're like, "Yeah, no, that's appropriate. That's fine." Yeah, he's half. It gave me like Kill Bill vibes with like Lucy Liu's character, where you're sort of isolated from one of your, and it's actually what it sounds like from his origin story. I just always forget because that actor clearly is not. So if I'm watching it in passing or almost like in middle school, I'm like, he's not Asian. Like,
see, the problem is I grew up in the 80s, and in the 80s, that was just commonplace. Like, oh, look at this Native American person played by a dark-skinned Italian. Like so I actually have to stop myself to clock it because if you give me like the whitest guy in the world and say, hey, this is an Asian guy, I'll be like, all right, check Asian guy. I'm paying attention here. All right. Because I've just been programmed to do that.
That's what I was like, because Tom was watching it with me. We both were like, I think we both had to think. We were both like, he is supposed to be, okay, he's half. Okay. Like we both were like, okay, okay, there's like, I was like, I don't remember him being like full or like even Tom was like, well, maybe his character is just obsessed with the culture and that's why he's sort of surrounding himself with that. And then like, could have gone that way, but nope.
I'm going to have to point this out to you, Ginny. It gets a bit worse here. When we get to You Only Live Twice, Sean Connery is in Yellowface.
I Only Live Twice. Is that the 80s?
That's the one. No, that's the 60s. That's the one where he's he's in Asia. He's in
with Nancy Kwan. Nancy Kwan's
Japan. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Like because there's a whole subplot where he gets married, and they make him look like an Asian person.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, I blacked that out of my mind.
I know. And here's the thing: I've seen that movie 100 times, and I love that movie, so I always black it out.
Jeez.
And then I was rewatching it, I was listening to We Hate Movies podcast when they did it, and they were going off on it, and it was like I don't remember that at all, and I had to rewatch it. And I was like, no, I do remember this. I just actively forget.
That's crazy. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I know. It's
I really haven't seen that one in years. I've been Russia with Love in parts for the past 2 years. Always watch Goldfinger. Like never watched Thunderball.
Oh no, Thunderball's the one I've seen the least at this point.
Yeah, which is so weird.
I think I maybe seen Thunderball once or twice. Like that's how few times I've seen it.
Yeah. I can't tell you anything from Thunderball.
And
So
what's funny is Thunderball is the one that gets the unofficial Sean Connery remake, and Never Say Never Again. That's just
yeah,
Thunderball.
that's right. Okay, that's what Tom and I were trying to
So
figure out.
yeah,
When's actually like a remake? A weird producer, right?
well, yeah, because that was the
Right.
thing. Because the rights, because of the rights issue I was talking about, like the person who wrote the screenplay won and got to own the screenplay and everything introduced in the screenplay. And so, as an FU to the Broccoli family, he did a remake and just, I guess, parked a boat of money on Sean Connery's like
It was like, here you
lawn.
go. Here you go, Sean.
And we're gonna do that movie. That's gonna be the last of the Bond movies
I
official that we
know.
do. And he literally has a line where he looks to the camera and he goes, "Never say never again."
I'm sure he makes it work. I also haven't seen that one. I think Kim Basinger's in that one.
She is, yeah, she's a
She's like a
Bond girl.
baby. Um, no,
I think the one I am most excited about, Ginny, is on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
ooh, yeah.
Because I'm so excited because that is such a maligned one. That is one that a lot of people really hate because it's not Connery and it's an outlier, but it is one of my favorites.
Mm, mm. I haven't seen that one in years, but I used to watch that one all the time. That way I used to be on like we love Diana, we love Diana Rigg
Diana
too.
Rigg, right? I
I
mean,
used to not
she's.
hate him. I think he's almost fallen out of my favor as a Bond, but I remember liking him. I don't
I
know.
like him. Like, here's the thing: he could never be too high on my list because he only did one movie. But I like him. He's doing the best Sean Connery impression I've ever seen
He's Australian for an Australian man.
for an Australian. He's wearing a kilt. That's awesome.
That's true.
Telly Savalas is in that movie.
Telly Savalas. That's another thing with Doctor No, unfortunately, as a villain, and for such an iconic movie, and for a movie that has so many iconic little moments, and I think in the canon of Bond, he's not like a Blofeld. He's not like
Yeah.
even Telly Savalas or Goldfinger. Like it's so I know that name, and you could, if you were like, hey, give me some Bond villains, obviously, but I'm like, I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah.
He's
I
he's got a great
agree.
speaking voice, but I'm like, I don't know that actor. I don't know him.
He's in the movie for 15 minutes.
It doesn't
You know,
help.
he does some good stuff, but like that's a big problem for me. This movie's called Doctor No, and I like that. Like it's more about his presence, right? You see his name on the file in the beginning, and everyone's talking about this person. Um, but like when you meet him, it's interesting, but like there's not a lot of them there, so I couldn't tell you anything except like he pampers Bond and
I know, which is pretty silly, and people have
has
latched on too.
right and has the hands
And
they're
yes,
like robotic hands.
yeah,
He
but
crushes something
unclear. Well, he
metal.
could okay because it's like a black leathery glove. But he heard it. What did he say? Something about the radiation happened to him.
I think because in the book it's different. In the book, someone like he double crosses someone. They take his hands.
Okay, that's his. And we don't
Um,
have henchmen. We don't have a henchman with their own little
no, we
pickup.
don't. That's a
Or
good point. No, only one person has a disability who's a villain. This is not James Bond.
not my James Bond. Oh no, I shouldn't
I
even
need
want that.
I need every single disability maligned in my James Bond movie. Make them all evil.
Oh my god, let's villainize all of them. They have
All of
different
them.
features.
But he's just not a lot. He's not around a lot. So I agree with you. Like, I think his idea is cool, but I couldn't tell you much about him. And I think when we give our final rankings of like where we place a lot of these characters, I don't. I think there's a lot of people who will be over him because
Mm.
he just his his presence is just not there. Like, and it's felt that it's not
hmm
there.
hmm which is crazy for such a movie that has taken tropes, which I think is beginnings of that, and then the name itself is iconic. I think that's so weird, but I couldn't tell you like some Roger Moore villains, and they don't have even their names aren't even the title. Like they don't have that luxury. So
Well, I mean, he fought Moonraker in Moonraker. He fought Doctor You Only Live Twice and You Only Live Twice. Oh, and then there was the Man with the Golden Gun.
I would
No,
like
I
that
agree.
more.
That would be good if they were all just named after the villains.
Never say never again. Doctor Never say never again.
Oh, Professor the Spy Who Loved Me. Well, what are you? Oh, I'm German. Sorry, it's a long name.
That's an interesting name.
You know, it's never to say never again.
Oh, okay, got it. You'll have to spell that for me later.
But yeah, no, but I agree with you. Like, there, I think this is a weird outlier because I think there are iconic James Bond movies that we all say yes, they're iconic, and then there are ones who we go, I like that movie, but who's the villain?
Yeah.
Right? Like who's the one that, like, I probably could say that about The Living Daylights. Like, who's the villain of that?
Oh
I
no, I never, and I like that. I mean, I watched that movie enough. I just, I don't.
Right, and I like it too, but I forget. Or Octopussy. Who's the villain of that again?
Well, it's so confusing. I remember Robert Davi in License to Kill. I'll call him Robert Davi.
Right.
and then Benicio del Toro is his henchman. But then that's Sean Bean is Sean Bean.
Right. But he's 006. So actually
006,
I'd
Alec.
say 006 is on Alec Trevelyan's on the memorable ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Doctor No's memorable, but like, what do you think of when you think of Alec Trevelyan? Well, he was 006. He was James Bond's brother. He was a Russian Cossack. You remember things, right?
Yeah.
What do you know about Doctor No? The hands, and he was half Asian, right?
I don't even remember the hands. That's so funny that you say that. Or God, no, Blofeld. I'll tell you everything about him. We love him.
A bald, a cat, a scar, played by 4 different people. He has facial reconstruction every 3 years, like he's fucking Tyler Durden in Fight Club. I mean, he's in a wheelchair. The way he died, he was dropped in a chimney. Who was the villain of that Bond movie? I couldn't tell you.
The chimney. What a way to go. But at least, this is a starting off point for better villains or for more iconic villains. So you're not stealing the show right away.
For sure. And again, it sets up tropes. It sets up the gentleman villain. It sets up the eccentric villain. It actually sets up the villain with disabilities, right? Like almost every villain we get after this has some form of physical ailment or disability or whatever you want to, whatever it is. So I think even though he's only in the movie for a short time, it sets up the ostentatiousness of the base, right? Like I haven't gotten to Blofeld in the books yet, but I mean, Blofeld is obviously sort of influenced in the movies by this guy with his volcano base and stuff.
Totally. No, I guess that's not nothing. Yeah. He's got radiation. I don't see a lot of radiation on my Bonds these days.
That's true. Yeah, it went out of fashion in the 60s.
Because it's everywhere now, Yeah,
well, corporations won, and we just accept that in order for us to have electricity, 1 in 8 of us need to die of cancer. We've accepted it.
It's there.
All right. So anything else that we missed about it in your notes that you want to hit?
Q Branch. I just realized that, which is
a
bit weird. I love Honey Rider. She'll again for a little for a little quaint as that might seem. She is kind of, I think, for the time, pretty spot on, iconic and unique. And just a great start. If our Dr. No isn't sort of an iconic villain to start off with, she is an iconic Bond girl to really kick things off and gives us a standard to kind of to build on and to run with. And Connery's kind of beautiful.
He really is.
Oh, just so unique, man. Did you ever see Darby Gill in the Little People? Darby O'Gill?
I've never seen it.
The Disney movie. It's on Disney Plus with Sean Connery, and he's also singing because he sings a little bit in that movie.
He's singing?
Well, it's like about leprechauns. They catch the leprechauns.
Okay.
And he's like a farmhand boy, but he looks like Sean Connery in this. It's like the 50s. It's a cute movie. And anyway, I just realized
look for it.
Bond singing. He has a beautiful singing voice.
You're right. I didn't even clock that. He does sing underneath the mango tree.
And we don't have Bonds that sing anymore. Whatever happened to
Yeah.
Bond singing?
You know what? All these new Bonds are bullshit. I want to see some singing, and you know what? I want to see some dancing, some tap
And I want to see
dancing,
some
maybe.
dancing.
That's right.
We all know Pierce Brosnan cannot sing, so
Yeah.
famously. I don't know about Roger Moore.
I would willing. No, I don't. I'm willing to bet he could not sing.
All right. I also, if we ever have a new Bond, I have one in my back pocket that I would like to be Bond.
Uh huh.
You don't watch Bridgerton? Do you watch Bridgerton?
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard good things.
So people say the one guy, Jean Page,
Mm-hmm.
and he's fine. But there's another guy who's British and brunette and charming, and people love him. I think he would be good, and he's a singer. So I go, let's cast. He's a top choice for me. I'll have to find his name, but I like him.
All right. You know what? I'm going to look into this guy. Because I'm very curious where they're going to go with this. I always try. I never try to like predict who it should be, like in any franchise, because I'm always wrong. I'm shitty at the
And they make cool choices. They go somewhere you don't think, people are thinking outside the box. So
right. Like if you told me Daniel Craig, I would have looked at him. I'd be like, I don't know this guy. He doesn't look like James Bond. Get him out of my face.
No.
But I was wrong.
Character actors. That's
Right.
where it's at.
It is, and that's what we need. We need people who look more weathered in Hollywood. I'm sick of looking at people who
Me
look so
too.
beautiful.
Me too. Let's go for the Jeremy Renner. Let's go for Bulldogs. I'm ready for it.
That's right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hashtag Bulldog.
I'm Bulldogs. And that goes for the females too. A more weathered female, I would appreciate
For sure.
it. Let's bring it on. Let's go for it.
Not everyone has to look like Aphrodite herself just chiseled them from Mount Olympus. Come on, people.
Nope.
All right, we don't all have to be Chris Hemsworth.
No, thank you.
I'm still upset that he's so funny.
I know he's
Why does he have to be? It's not fair.
Yeah, he's so wonderful and charming.
He's charming and funny and smart. He seems like a good guy.
He's like a good dad.
Good dad. He cares about people. Fucking die already, man. No, I'm kidding. I love Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying this about him. I love him.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to the end. So I think we can both agree this was a successful mission for our friend James Bond.
Yes, absolutely. I like just successful for me. Mm-hmm. But I love it.
Same here. I love it too. There's nothing else I can say more about it. I think it's if you've never seen Dr. No, go see Dr. No. Do yourself a favor. It's a great flick. And all right, so that brings us to next week. Next week, we will be back next Monday with From Russia with Love. We are going to be going through these Sean Connery James Bond movies like James Bond goes through Bond girls. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're going to really get a lot out of them and enjoy them and appreciate them for their beauty and talk about how wonderful they are.
And then arrest them later.
And then discard them as soon as we don't need them.
Especially if they're bad. They're bad girls.
Oh, especially if they're bad girls. Hey, but at least she wasn't killed, Usually he kills.
I know. No, that's nice. That's really nice. No women were dead. I like that.
I also like that.
Thank you, Jason.
I endorse that no women died.
No one was murdered.
All right, yeah. So join us next week at 8:30 for From Russia with Love. But while you're here, if you want to listen to other shows on the PCP network, what are you into is the question. Are you into pop culture stuff? Obviously, pop culture pros. Are you into comic book stuff? Well, then join us at Granny's Peach Tea and get your latest serving of sweet geeky goodness. Ed and I will be back from our Granny's hiatus this Wednesday, covering. I don't remember. It's the movie about the DC pets It's a kids movie. We're covering it. He's already seen it. I got to go see it tomorrow.
Make Finn see it.
I would like to, but Finn can only sit through 40 minutes of a movie if it's in Kanto before he starts to and it has to be in Kanto. That's it. I kind of don't want to see this because I'm not big on kids movies, and obviously I watch a ton of them now. If I could bring Finn to see this, I'd probably be more excited.
I heard it's cute. I heard I don't know. I heard it's some, I don't know. It's
I'm
cute.
hoping it's fun. But to show you what a cynical bastard I am, Ginny, when I finally reviewed and watched the Batman Lego movie,
Uh-huh.
right, on Granny's, I went, it was a fine kids movie. But the fact that people are saying it's one of the best Batman movies
Oh,
ever
yeah.
is bullshit. It's a
Yeah.
kids movie. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I come from on these. And look, people love kids movies, so I'm not shitting on that. Enjoy it. But that's just, I'm a cynical bastard. um, all right, so yeah, come Granny's Peach Tea. But let's say you already knew about Granny's Peach Tea, and you want something new, something fresher than the tea that Eddie and I squeak out every week. Well, then you should probably join Skyliner Views, where Ashley goes over everything Disneyland, Disney World, all the parks. I was actually thinking about this when I was in LA because I took my son to Disneyland for the first time,
Yeah. Oh, that was
and
amazing.
it was amazing. We had a lot of fun. We rode that train around the park like 4 times. He loved it. That's all he wanted to do is ride the train. And I don't ride rides. I don't care. We did it Small World. It was wonderful.
Oh.
But if you want to know the scoop, I think they're talking Star Wars this week. So
Mhm.
check out Skyline Reviews. If you are into sports, you want to get some Mets, you can go put it in the books with boss man Steve Faraci himself talking Mets baseball. If Yankees is your thing, I know that that there are gangs that feud over this. They have knife fights. They dance and sing and have knife fights. But if you're into the Yankees gang, you can join Empire 161 with a friend of the show and my co-host Ed, as well as his co-host Lisa. If you're liking the wrestling, there's a lot going on with wrestling.
Oh my gosh, the drama.
Right? There's in real life drama. Vince McMahon was forced to retire because I don't know, he was touching people or something. I mean, I guess old white men are gonna old white men, but old rich white men. Sorry, because I will one day be an old white man, but I will never be rich. So, but you can watch the Just Too Sweet show and catch up on all of the new WWE drama and all of they've been covering that extensively. One put it in the books, Just Too Sweet Grannies. If there's a new show with Don, who actually was covering for me when I was out, which I believe it's called Am I Still On? And if I got that wrong, I apologize. I didn't update my list before I went on today because I'm bad at this, guys. But you should check him out. He does movies in general. He'll do I know he did Thor on our show as well as on his show. So he covers some stuff that is comic book related with a different gang of people, different fresh eyes than we do it. But he also pops on our show, and he also does other movies, other pieces of pop culture that you might want to listen to. But if none of that interests you, and what you really want is something eclectic, something familiar, something peculiar, something for everyone. A to Z tonight, where they. Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't planning that. Thank you. A to Z, where they cover everything from apple schnapps to Zinfandel.
Cool.
See, you're still not impressed, Jenny.
I'm impressed by that. Yeah, go for it. I like liqueurs, and wine. That's great.
But anyway, Jenny, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thanks for listening, and have a great night. See you next week.
Good night.